Hey, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about time-barred debt and statute of limitations debt. I was reading a recent news report where they had stated that zombie debt, it's also known as zombie debt, that it has been on the rise over the last 5 years. So just to give you a little bit of background about zombie debt, debt that's past the statute of limitations, time-barred debt, they're all the same. This is debt that was either from an original creditor or a debt collector, where it was a charged off account from the original creditor, and then it has passed the statute of limitations to collect in your state or a particular state. Here are the problems, though. First, let's just talk about the types of debt. And forgive me, I have to do the video this way, having some issues with my camera, but the information is what you're here for anyways. So the time-barred debt, aka statute of limitations debt, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA, Section 1006.26 under collections of time-barred debt, B, legal actions and threats of legal action. So what has been happening to a lot of people is that they have been getting calls from debt collectors, and they will threaten that they're going to sue them over a debt. They will say things like, this is a time-barred debt, and if you don't pay, we're going to sue you, or we're going to take legal action. That is a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, because if a debt is past the time-barred period or the statute of limitations period, they cannot threaten to sue you because they cannot take legal action for that debt. A lot of people don't know that. But what they do to people is that they get people focused on the debt itself, not the legality of them collecting the debt. So they get people focused on the debt, and then people start sending a debt validation. And then some people get tricked into doing what's called resetting the debt by making some sort of agreement or making some sort of payment. And those people are not, they're only just doing that because they're not educated, but I do not call them being foolish for doing it, because if you have a job where you're a public servant, you have a job where you work at a bank, you have a job where you work on Wall Street, you have a job where you are a Secret Service, and these are all types of clients that I've had with my company, where you can't have that debt collector contacting your employer over this. You will lose your job. So they make this conscious decision. It's either pay this debt collector because they're focused on the debt, they're not even thinking about the statute of limitations, or potentially lose my $50, $60, $70, $80, $150,000, $250,000 job per year. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to pay that debt. They're going to pay it. So they don't even understand their rights, because they're not even in the mindset of understanding their rights. They're in the mindset of not losing their job. So what you need to understand when it comes to time-barred debt, debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you do not need to do a debt validation for that debt. The first thing you should do with any letter that you get from a debt collector is you need to look up the statute of limitations for the debt in your state. You also need to look at the charge-off date, the original charge-off date for that particular date. That is something that a lot of people are just not in the habit of doing. So step one, get your credit reports. And this is not going to be information that is on those free credit reports. It's not going to even be on your annual credit report some of the time. You need to get a credit report that is going to show you everything. And on that credit report, it will say charge off date. From the charge off date is when the clock starts to tick, not from when you had the original account. And even if a debt collector buys the debt and they have it on your credit reports, it does not matter. Whoever the original creditor was, that's where the charge off date starts. And that's when the statute of limitation clock starts to tick. So step number one, find out when that debt was charged off. Step number two, look at your state to find the charged off time barred debt or time frame for your particular state, you can go to my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. I have it outlined for oral contract, written contract, promissory note, opening accounts like credit cards. In some states, it's lower for credit cards. In some states, it might be the same. But you need to know that information. If it is 1 day past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you do not need to do a debt validation. You just need to notify them that they're trying to collect the debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect in your state. Now, that letter has to be done the right way. If it's done the wrong way, they are not going to pay attention to it. They're going to keep coming after you for it. You don't have to take my word on it. You can search on Google. It says that zombie debt collections have been on the rise over the last 5 years. And that's specifically because people don't know their rights. And even if they know their rights, they don't know what to do and how to respond. Because if you don't respond the right way, it's just not going to be paid attention to. And the first mistake that I see people make is they do a debt validation. There is no need to do a debt validation on a debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Now, there is one exception, only one: federal student loan debt. I get this question asked a lot. That is the only one that has no statute of limitations, is federal student loan debt. But there's other options that you can utilize to either get that forgiven or to get it reduced or to get some type of income payment plan on that. The types of debt that are included: auto loans, credit card debt, payday loans, personal loans, real estate notes, real estate foreclosures, promissory notes, certain types of business debt that is personally guaranteed. It could be withdrawn on past statute of limitation on the personal side, but they may be able to go after certain assets on the business side. So if you have debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, I want to get you a letter. There's a link below this video. It has the instructions on there. I've just given you the instructions of what you need to do to look up to see if your debt is past the legal statute of limitations. Now you need the letter to be able to put that into action. I'm going to give you that letter. The link is below here. You're going to get 3 letters. One of them is the one to use for the statute of limitations. No need to do any debt validation. 100% free. I do ask for a donation on those, because it could save you time, money, frustration, and it can also save your job if you're in any of those that I listed earlier in this video. Time barred debt, statute of limitation debt, they're the same thing. Also, before I close out this video, when you get a call from a debt collector, so other videos will tell you don't answer, don't do this, all of that stuff. When you get a call from a debt collector, and you got to listen closely, because they will tell you, and it is required by law, that they must tell you if a debt that they're trying to collect is past statute of limitations. But this is how they say it. They'll say that we are calling you about a time barred debt. This debt is time barred. What that means is that you do not have to pay this debt if you don't want to, because there is no legal obligation and no legal means for us to make you pay this debt. They're basically saying that this is if you morally feel like you need to pay this debt, you can go ahead and pay this debt, but you have no legal obligation and we have no legal recourse to make you pay that debt. All right. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. It's going to have that information on there about the charge-off dates too. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations, debt validation, and cease and desist collection activities letter. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments, and please like and share this video. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.